Now that we're getting further into the series, you might want to think about what your goal will be. Hi, I'm Hananya Leclerc. I am a multi-genre writer who shares tips and tricks and talks about her life. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. So setting a goal is going to help you kind of focus on what you want to achieve and by when you want to achieve it. So with setting a goal, you kind of want to think about, okay, how long do I want to give myself to write the first draft of this book? And what is going to be actually doable. So you want to make sure that your goal is also going to be something that is going to be achievable and something that you can actually do in the amount of time that you're giving yourself. Ask yourself if you have a certain kind of deadline by which you want to write the first draft. Do you have a certain kind of goal in mind on a timeline on when you want to finish your draft? For example, with NaNoWriMo in November, you usually write 50,000 words for the month, and that is the goal. Now, if you kind of think about, okay, my book is going to be about 100,000 words, and you want to give yourself, for example, 2 months to do it, then it's basically going to be a NaNoWriMo twice. So it's going to be NaNoWriMo 2 months in a row. And you're going to have to write an average of 1,667 words a day. Now, think about that and kind of also think about if you can do that every day. Because there might be some days that you're not going to be able to write that much, and that is okay. But you kind of want to consider that as you're setting your goal, because if you're setting your goal sky high and you don't reach that, that's gonna feel very shitty, and we don't want you to feel shitty. So with setting a goal, you want to be realistic in where you're going to be and how much you're going to be able to do. So also think about kind of how fast of a writer you are, because some people write very fast and can write like 1,000 words in 30 minutes. Some people write a little bit slower and might not get 1,000 words in a day ever. You also want to think about, for example, if you're someone that can do a 10K day every once in a while, and that can boost up your word count goals. Even if you don't necessarily know how much word count your book is going to be, or if you even have like a full word count goal, you kind of want to set a goal of like, okay, how many chapters maybe do you want to write, and how long is that going to take you? Kind of think about, okay, how long do I want to give myself to actually do this, and then give yourself a certain deadline. If you do want to set a word count goal, but you don't necessarily know how long your book is going to be, what you can do is kind of say, okay, well, my book is going to be anywhere from 75,000 words to like 120,000 words. And let's say you want to give yourself 2 months to do it, which is, it's doable. I'm not saying it's not doable, but it is a big goal. So kind of see if that's something that you would be comfortable with. But if you then do that, that means that on average, you have to write 1,250 words to 2,000 words every single day. Now, that might not happen every single day, which can be fine, but then you need to kind of account for those words on other days. So if you're someone that can, for example, pull off a 10K day, and you might be able to do that twice in this time period, so like once every month, then that might be doable for you. Then you can just skip the days that you might not be able to write, or maybe write a bit less on days that you feel you're really busy. And then you can still achieve this goal by like the end of the second month. If you feel like, wow, that feels like a lot, I don't think I can do that in such a short amount of time, you don't have to. You're the one that sets the goal. You're the one that gets to pick what you want to do and how long you want to take to do this. If you're looking more for like a chapter kind of way of thinking, you can say, okay, well, I want to write about 30 chapters. I think that's about where I'm going to sit with my book and see, okay, how long does it take for me to write one chapter? Do I take 1 day to write this? Then I could potentially write this in 30 days, which I think is incredible if you can. Or does it take me like longer to write one chapter? Does it take me like 3 days to write one chapter? Then you might want to do this over a course of 90 days. Which is also completely fine. You don't have to rush into this. You don't have to like speed your way through the first draft. You can do this in however much time you want to take. Once you have outlined a little bit what your goal is going to be, what you want to do is really set this in stone for you. I'm not saying that you have to really set it in stone and stick to this no matter what happens, because sometimes life happens and that is okay. But if you do want to pick a goal and that's what you want to achieve, then you definitely want to schedule some time in, build a routine, and actually get going on this. So what I mean by that is if you basically say that you want to finish your book in, let's say, 2 months, and your book is going to be like 75,000 words, then you want to write on average 1,250 words a day. So you want to account for that time. So you want to kind of block out certain things in your schedule so that you can dedicate your time towards that and kind of figure out how long that takes you to write that. It might be 30 minutes if you write really fast. It might be an hour. It might be 2 hours. Depending on how fast you write, you kind of want to block that into your schedule and kind of say, okay, I'm going to sit down every day around this time, or I'm going to sit down every day and carve out a little bit of time there. If you're someone who is going to do like a 10K day every once in a while, also plan that in and kind of plan the rest of your week or the weekend around that so that you can accommodate for that and then do less during the week potentially. If you're someone who, for example, has way more time in the weekends, you can bulk up your word count on the weekend and then maybe do less during the week or skip the week entirely and just try and do this in the weekends. No matter what your goal is and no matter how you want to achieve this, you do want to kind of build this into your routine and build it into your schedule. You want to kind of say, okay, well, maybe every time after I have breakfast, I will sit down and write for 30 minutes. Maybe every time I've had dinner, I will sit down for 30 minutes after dinner. It's easier to kind of tack a routine kind of thing onto something that you do every day. So for example, if you're like, okay, well, I eat every evening, right? Most people probably do. Then you can say, okay, well, every single time I finish my dinner, I'm gonna sit down and write. Or maybe you're someone who goes for a morning jog and you're like, okay, well, every single time I come back, I will sit down and write 30 minutes. Or maybe you want to do it before. So maybe you're saying, okay, well, before I go for my morning run, I want to spend 30 minutes on my writing. Those are kind of the things that can help you build a routine and get you into like the comfort and schedule and just into a flow of writing every day. Even if your writing doesn't happen every day, doesn't have to. You can also say, well, on Mondays and Fridays, I'm gonna sit down and write. It doesn't have to be every day. Just kind of set yourself some kind of goal and set yourself some kind of routine and build it into your schedule so that you can achieve the goal that you want to achieve. Consistency is kind of key when it comes to achieving your goals, and you want to make sure that you kind of keep a consistent rhythm going. I'm not saying that consistency means that your progress needs to be linear, because that is so not true. If you have like an average word count per day, that doesn't mean you have to hit that word count every single day. Sometimes you might be able to write 1,500 words. Sometimes you might be able to write 200 words. Sometimes you might be able to write 500 words. It doesn't matter what progress you make. Every progress is progress. And even if sometimes that means skipping a day, skipping a couple days, that is fine as long as you get back into the routine. I know how hard it is when you skip like a full week of doing it and then you feel like you're so behind that you can't catch up to the goal and you just feel overwhelmed. So with that in mind, we're gonna go to the last little bit of tips and tricks I have for you in this video. So if you're someone who struggles with setting a goal, or maybe is worried that you're not going to be able to achieve that goal, or if you're falling behind, you're worried that you won't be able to make up for lost time, then this might be something that's useful to you. So what you can do is maybe set a good, better, and best goal. So this is kind of a strategy that you can use for your goal setting. Because sometimes setting a goal can be scary because you worry, what if I fail? What if I don't reach my goal? And I'm someone who's very scared of failing all the time, so I completely understand where you're coming from. As for me, I sometimes set like a good, better, best goal just so I can say, well, you know, it's not going to be what I want exactly, but I'm going to be happy if I reach this by this time. And then the better goal is going to be, well, this is going to make me very happy. This is kind of what I want, and this is hopefully what I achieve. But if I don't, I'm going to also be happy with the good goal. But better is like, wow, that would be really impressive. I'm going to be really, really happy that I did that. And then the best goal is going to be like, oh my God, I didn't think I was going to be able to do this, but I've done it. And that is kind of the best goal. So for example, if your realistic goal is like, okay, maybe I can do it in 2 months, but that feels like very soon, then maybe 2 months will become your best goal. If you feel scared about the goal that you're trying to set, then maybe that should be your best goal. And that is like, well, if I really push myself, I can get there, but I'm scared that I won't be able to. Then set that as your best goal and then move on and say, okay, what would be something that I'm also happy with? So that is kind of your good goal. So if you say, well, you know, if I can do it in 4 months, I'm also gonna be happy, like that's gonna be fine, then set that as your good goal. Say, okay, my good goal is 4 months, and then maybe your better goal is 3 months and your best goal is 2 months. And that is something that you can kind of do to see, okay, well, what do I need to do every day on average to reach my best goal? So like the highest one, what is the thing that you need to do every day to reach that? And then say, what is my better goal and what is my good goal? So that way you can kind of see, okay, well, if I can reach somewhere in between good and best every single day, I might be able to still get to best. But if not, that is also fine. Try and hit your good goal every day, or however much you are giving yourself. Doesn't have to be every day, but try and see if you can at least get to your good goal, and then your better goal is something that you can like push for a little bit, and then the best goal is like, I'm really gonna push myself to do this, but also be happy with better and good. I hope this video has helped you kind of get an idea of what your goal might be, how you set your goal, and what routine you might want to kind of implement for yourself so that you can achieve this goal that you're setting for yourself. And if you can't wait to continue the series, then the next video is going to be popping up here in a couple days if you're watching this real time, or it will already be here if you're watching this back.